Hi, I'm Linda Hendrickson here in my studio in Portland, Oregon. And in this video I'm going to show you a little bit about three-dimensional ply-split braiding in a structure called two-layered oblique interlacing. I want to start by showing you a few of the projects that I've made and then one that I'm currently working on. The first one that I made is this little basket here, and I just wanted to try this structure in a very small basket just to see how it would work. I've used paper cords, or cords that I made from paper ribbon, and you know, I just started out with a really simple bottom, and then I used the same little motif on twice. But then when I finished ply splitting the motif, I just didn't know what to do about the rim because I had these two color cords. And I couldn't figure out a neat way to finish it off, so it looked right. And I ended up, after a long while, deciding to unply the cords and then re-ply them to make two separate rims. So this is the way it turned out. I purposely changed the way it was split. The black rim was split to make it a little bit different shape.
Okay.
This is the next one that I made, and I was really just trying to do something even simpler here and basically try to make the rims a little bit more different from each other. The way this technique works is if you don't have a pattern, then you'll have two completely separate layers. So it's two completely separate layers here, and then it's joined where you have the color change. So these little black areas are kind of like little pockets. You can actually stick your finger down in there. This is the third one, and this one I just decided to put a design on the bottom, and then as I worked it up, of course, it was separate layers joined where the cords still were working, and then once I separated them, re-plied them, I ended up with really two completely separate baskets, or joined in the middle there. Then I had the idea to make an hourglass shape. I wanted to make a piece that said "Act Now." So I've done one end of the hourglass and have finished it off so that the rims are just right next to each other. And now I'm working on the other end. So again, I've kind of replicated, as much as you can, an hourglass shape here, and then I have just put in these little dots to sort of indicate the kind of like the sand going through the hourglass. So I'll show you how I'm working on this on both the front and the outside and the inside, and then I'll be showing you how to unply and re-ply the cords and finish off the rim. When I'm working the outside of the basket, I'm usually setting it up like this on a table, and here you can see my patterns. This design is so simple, I'm honestly not really using the pattern very much, just more looking at what's happening on the basket itself. So I'm just going to work a few splittings on this side. So I know that this right here has to be dark. So one thing about the paper, it doesn't, it's a little harder to untwist, and it doesn't want to go together as much as wool. Wool really will snuggle up quite close to each other. it's really important when you're splitting to make sure you've got your plies in the right order. They get out of order quite easily. So now here I'm going to start switching to light. So that gives you kind of an idea of how I work this side, and now I'm going to show you how I work the inside of the basket. When I'm working on the other side, I really like to bring it down here because it's hard to get the cords out of the way if I have it on the table. So this row that I'm working on now is all light. I've checked my pattern, so I'll just be having light up all the time. So you can just start anywhere. So this part that I'm working here, I need to always leave half twist because the row before in this section was dark. When I get up here to some splittings where the previous splitting had been light, then I have to be sure to leave no twist to keep the light up. Now I've worked as far as I want to on the piece, and you do need to leave a little section of no pattern before you start working on the unplying and replying the cords. So just to show you how the cords look normally when they're worked, and they are joined here. And I've started separating or unplying and replying. So in this section you can see how that's divided now into two completely separate layers. So I'm going to just take two pairs that have not been worked on yet and show you which cords you need to select. So here's two split pairs, and the two cords that you need to work on are these two right here. Okay, so I'll go back over here and do the next set. So the cords do tend to be different lengths, so if I can, I just cut. I'll cut this one, but then I'm going to take the tape off the other one. So a little pair of really sharp scissors is helpful. I want all the length that I've got here, so I'm just going to pull that tape off. All right, then I'll start very carefully unplying. So you want to not touch these any more than you really need to. So get that one all the way up, and then this one. So first I'll do these. One thing you can keep in mind when you're doing this is you're not going to be splitting these cords, so it isn't absolutely critical that the plies be perfect, but it's kind of surprising how you can get them. You can get them pretty good. So I've got 56 pairs on this piece, so it is quite a bit of work. But I really feel like the end result is worth it. So when you get to the end, you just kind of put a little piece of tape on there. This is 2-inch packing tape that I have cut into little sections. So you just pinch and roll the tape on, and then I usually kind of burnish it a little bit that way. Okay, and then this one, make sure you go up as far as you can when you start. And tape that end. Okay, so you just keep going all the way around, and when I get to that point, then we'll start working on the rims. I finished doing all of the unplying and re-plying, and one thing that you really want to do after you think you're finished is to really double check and make sure that you haven't made a mistake and there is something connected where it shouldn't be. So just go all the way around and check on that, and I have done that. So now I'm ready to start working on the rim. And what I'm going to do is to just take all of these light ones and hold them together just temporarily. I'm going to work on the light rim first, but I need to get the dark ones out of the way. So just hold these together, and then I'm going to put this other rubber band around the dark ones. So that just keeps them completely out of the way while we work on these light ones. So you can really start anywhere. And I have made a big long rim cord here, and maybe leave, I don't know, about 5 inches or so as a tail, because you do need to hide that and you need room to work with it. So just start splitting, and you're going to just split the rim cord with all the cords that are already in the piece. So just leaving a 1/4 twist between the splittings. So you want to actually go all the way around 5 times. And once you get around the first time, I would go back and try to tighten them all down. And you can continue to do that as you work on it. Also, one thing to keep in mind, after you finish the first round, you want to go around and check really carefully to make sure you didn't accidentally leave one out, because that can happen. Now I've finished going around the rim 5 times with the rim cord, and then I've also started working on pulling the cords back down. And I'll just give you a quick look at how that looks here, where the cords are just coming through the rim cord, and then over here where I've started working on it. So I'll just do a little bit here to show you how that part works. So I'm first taking a knitting needle, and I'm actually going to go up in the same space that's occupied by this cord right here. So I'm leaving a 1/4 twist between the splittings between here and here, and working that up through the same space, and then just kind of wiggle out a bit. And that's to kind of enlarge that space a little bit, so when I put the gripfid in, I don't have to worry about damaging the gripfid, because it's quite easy to damage the gripfid if you push it, force it anyway. So just put that right up in there. And this cord is going to come down like that. As you go along, you want to be sure that you pull up tight. Keep pulling these up nice and tight. I've finished pulling all the cords down through the rim cord, and now I'm ready to cut them off. So it's just a matter of cutting them off pretty close. Make sure you don't cut anything that you don't want to cut. You can always trim that closer with tiny scissors later. Okay, so now I'm going to take off the rubber band and get ready to do the outer rim here. Okay, so I have my rim cord ready to go here. And this will be just the same as the other. One thing I like to do is to see where, so I started the other one right here, actually, right here. Yeah, so I'll start in the same place, more or less. So this rim goes on the same as the other one. Now you might need to kind of untwist it a little bit because it needs to be a little bit bigger. So just pulling it through, leaving a quarter twist between the splittings, and going all the way around 5 times. So I'm pulling these as tight as I can, and then using the knitting needle to go up in the same space that's occupied by this cord, the black one here. And then wiggle that a bit, open it up, and then I can put the gripfid in easily without stressing it. Now you can see how I've started, and as I start to pull those rim cords down, it starts to tighten up a bit, and you can also see the difference between this part right here and then how it's nice and tight here. So I'll just go all the way around and then be finished. I finished pulling all the cords down, and so there's the finished rim, the 2 rims. And now I'm ready to trim these ends off. And that'll be the last thing I have to do. Okay, all done. Well, here's the finished piece. I'm just going to rotate it here so you can see the words on it. It didn't stand up by itself, so we did have to put in a little wooden support structure. Well, I hope that this video has given you some ideas about what you can do with the two-layered oblique interlacing, and I hope you'll be inspired to make some ply-split baskets yourself. You can follow me on Facebook and do subscribe to my channel so you can see what else we're up to. Thanks for watching.